Was ist diese fröhliche Musik?
Das passt eigentlich gar nicht.
Voodoo-Morde! Lalalala. Herzlich willkommen in der Welt der interaktiven Geschichten. Ich bin Kiki und das ist mein heutiger Gast.
Gabriel Caballero.
Yay. Okay, so ungefähr. So, Trolli, hier, saure Glühwürmchen. Ich schmeiße die mal zu, die hatten wir, glaube ich, schon mal, deswegen. Aber ist ja egal, wir müssen irgendwas öffnen. So, was tun wir jetzt? Wir können hier eigentlich gar nichts weiter unternehmen, deswegen gehen wir vielleicht einfach mal noch mal eine Runde durch die Stadt. Hm?
Ist es lauter geworden, oder?
Irgendwie, weiß auch nicht.
Oder du hast mich aufmerksamer gemacht.
So, da waren wir jetzt gerade. So, Voodoo-Museum. Aussichtspunkt. Polienhaus. Ach, George. Geh doch mal nach Hause. Und dann... Vielleicht kann sie jetzt...
I knew you'd miss me, so I came back.
I wish you wouldn't wear that coat outside in June. I could smell you from here.
Bäh. Das ist eklig. Okay. Vielleicht fragen wir sie etwas. Vielleicht kann sie ja irgendwas nachforschen oder so.
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Nachforschungen.
Could you do some research for me?
Sure. What?
Ah, die mysteriöse Dame aus dem Auto. Hihihi.
Could you see what you can find out about a woman named Malia Getty?
The name Getty sounds familiar. What's your interest in her?
Oh, just, you know, stuff about the Voodoo murders. If you could get an address...
The murders. Right. I'll see what I can find out.
Sie weiß schon.
Anything else?
Nö, das war's erstmal.
I can't think of anything.
Okay.
Denn? Das erstmal. Irgendwelche Nachrichten?
Do you have messages for me?
Nope. None right now.
Na dann. Okay.
Well, it's about closing time.
Oh.
So it is. Good night, Gracie.
Na dann.
Good night, Gabriel. And try not to dream, okay?
Okay. Aha. Aber sie hat auch einen Mantel, ne, im Juni.
Ja.
Aber okay, doppelte Standards hier.
Wir stinken.
Die Sonne geht unter über New Orleans. Oha. Jetzt bricht die Nacht hinein. Und?
Game of.
Ach, natürlich träumt er wieder. Schon wieder?
Ah, das ist der Traum von den Intro.
Ja. Huch.
Von der Anleitung.
Ah ja, richtig. Genau. Das ist das, was mich so an Alone in the Dark erinnerte mit dem Jaguar.
Ja.
Auch die Musik.
Für die Leute,
Und
die Alone in the Dark 3 nicht gesehen haben, könnt ihr das beigeklickt gucken.
Ja, auch der Stil und die Pixel.
Mich erinnert vieles an vieles. Das hat
Vieles
auch sehr
an vieles, ja. Das,
hat auch sehr viel... Wie heißt der mit den Roboter? Wo er einen Roboter hat als Freund.
hier Dings. Ne? Beneath the Steel Sky.
Ja.
Ja. Tag 2. Okay. Jetzt haben wir die Schrift nicht gelesen, ne? Ist egal.
Gar nicht aufgepasst.
Nö, kein Stück. Ich habe nur Tag 2 gelesen. Ah, die Sonne geht auf.
Ach stimmt, wir schlafen ja da.
Ja.
Good morning. Don't you look swell today? Actually, swollen.
Oh,
So have some. There's a fresh pot on the table.
wunderschön. Kaffee-Junkie hier.
Frühstück.
Ja. Wenn das mal kein Magengeschwür gibt.
Seriously, you look like hell. Your hair is sticking straight up like a... Oh, it always does that. Never mind. Did you dream about the fire and the hang guy and that lion thing last night?
Mhm.
Leopards.
Ja,
not lion.
genau.
Did you get anything on Malia Getty?
Well, I did get her address, but you're a little out of your league here, big fella. The Gettys own 3 local hospitals, just to name a few of their assets. They run in very high circles.
Did you get an address?
I got the address. I suppose this has nothing to do with the fact that Malia Getty is incredibly gorgeous.
Nö.
I should have known you wouldn't go for a rich, ugly socialite.
And that address is...
Hey! Far be it from me to postpone your total humiliation. It's 557 West England. That's the Garden District.
Na gut.
State City.
That's all I wanted to know. And yes, my dear, Malia Getty is the most dangerous-looking diversion I've ever seen. Ouch! Ouch!
Was ist Autsch?
Oy, men.
Ach ja. Bring, ding, ding, ding.
Lies
Wir haben
mal die
nichts
Zeitung
gemacht,
von
aber...
heute.
Wir haben nichts gemacht, aber ding, 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 ding.
Today's newspaper is on the counter.
Ja. Dann,
There is nothing.
nö.
There's no one in that part of the shop to talk to.
Okay.
There's no one in. There's nothing.
Aber du hast es immer noch in der Hand. Achso, da.
Those two.
Ah, okay. Ja, nee, keine Ahnung. Weiß nicht, was ich tun soll.
Aha.
Achso, einfach nehmen.
Times Picayune. Dated June 19,
1993.
1993. A front page article describes the most recent of the Voodoo murders. Gabriel scans it but learns not anew. The
Wir waren ja da.
article reiterates that the voodoo aspect of the crimes is fake. Gabriel shivers. It looked real enough to him.
Ja.
Elsewhere, there's an article about the history of Jackson Square
Aha. Toll.
called La Plaza d'Armas. Under French rule, it was used for execution, firing squads, hanging, even impalement and breaking on the wheel.
Okay.
Yikes. Of course, these days it's mostly a hangout for tourists, street musicians and local artists. Gabriel also scans the Aquarius horoscope for the day. Chances of a dark star rising on this day. Do not trust your instinct.
I feel a dark star rising, all right.
Oh wei. Ah ja, alles klar. Gibt es hier noch irgendwas, was...
Under the window are reference books, dictionaries, foreign language dictionaries, quotation books, and others. Gabriel borrows them often
ja.
when he's writing. Under the...
Okay.
Under...
Okay, alles klar. Ja, das war ein dezenter Hinweis, an welchen Ort wir jetzt auch gehen sollten.
Ja. Da,
Also-
wo man eine Adresse hat.
Da, ja, und
I'll be
vor
back
allem,
later.
es stand was
Don't hurry back on my
Interessantes
account.
in der Zeitung.
Ach so, ja.
Ja, also hier dieser Jackson Square.
Ah,
So. Aber auch die Adresse, die finde ich jetzt auch spannend. Ah ne, da wohnt die Oma. Ah, da gehen wir doch erstmal die Lady besuchen.
Priorität.
Oh,
wieder.
geil. Ja, da kann ja nichts mehr schief gehen. Es erinnert mich auch so ein bisschen wieder an Memento
Phantasmagoria.
Mori. Nein,
Mori.
Memento Mori. Da war auch irgendwas mit Voodoo, glaube ich, oder? Irgendwie. Und dann war auch so eine alte Lady irgendwo mit so einem Anwesen und so
The
einem Park.
front door of the Getty mansion looks unusually solid and heavy. Gabriel can't get inside unless he's invited. The knocker is firmly... The knocker is...
Benutze ihn.
Irgendwas wird wohl
Ja,
gehen.
irgendwas wird gehen. Knopf. Hallo?
May I help you?
Ah.
I'd like to see Malia Getty, please. I'm sorry, but unless you have an appointment or official business, I cannot announce you.
Zeitschriftenabos. Ja,
I have a fine
das kommt
selection of
gut.
magazine subscriptions for sale. We do not welcome solicitors.
Komisch. Das ist ja verwunderlich, dass der darauf nicht einstieg.
Potted roses mark the entrance to the
Ah,
house.
wie hübsch. Dann sehen wir uns kurz um und dann klopfen
The
wir gleich nochmal.
huge trees bear beards of Spanish moss. Tall, narrow shutters provide beauty. The windows are made of thick, heavy glass. The only thing Gabriel can see inside is even thicker drapery.
Ich mag die Stimme echt gerne.
Ja.
The Garden District is famous for its elaborate old plantation homes and mansions.
Okay. Pass auf, dann klopf doch nochmal.
Ich bin's wieder.
Juhu.
Aus einem anderen
May
Grund.
I help you? I do have official business. Really?
Really?
Please tell me the nature of your business.
Ah, du musst ihm was zeigen.
Okay. Was haben wir denn? Das hier? Nein, was ist das denn hier? Also
Das ist
Schuppe.
eine Schuppe.
Was ist das hier?
Vaseline.
Das kommt bestimmt gut.
The jar
Ah, hier,
contains.
ja.
Ah,
Fast.
It's a piece of brick.
Was ist rot und schlecht für die Zähne? Ein Ziegelstein, können wir dem sagen. Und Rums. Nein, das macht man auch nicht.
Gabriel
Perfekt.
got the
Das wird wohl sein.
in the mail when he ordered a magazine subscription. It works though.
Nehmen wir jetzt hier.
Also ich glaube nicht, dass
hier.
das ein offizieller
Nein.
also ein Foto zeigen oder ein Brief oder irgendwas.
Was ist denn das hier nochmal?
Just as I
Oh,
thought.
ja, ich meine, nee, das können wir ihm jetzt auch nicht zeigen, ne? Hallo. Ich möchte. Oh Gott, damit. Ach so. Hä? Komme ich jetzt hier nicht mehr raus?
Drehbuch?
Na, das ist ja super. Game over.
Ja, dann bis gleich.
So, jetzt stehen wir wieder vor der Tür und klopfen abermals. Und gucken mal, was
Gucken wir
wir
uns
jetzt...
das Foto wieder.
May I
Nein.
help you?
Das machen wir jetzt anders. Ich bin hier dienstlich.
I
Genau.
do have official business.
Das wollten wir.
Really? Please tell me the nature of your business.
Und dann ja,
Dann haben wir eh nichts. Irgendwas, das sagt, dass wir Reporter sind oder so.
ne. Irgendwie nicht, ne?
I'm doing the best I can. Man, I'm beat. Just as I thought. A good day, sir.
Okay, da kommen wir nicht weit, ne?
Ja.
Oder, da gab es doch noch andere Gesprächsthemen. Ding dong.
Also,
Oder?
May I help you? I've got important business with Miss Getty. Yes, I'm waiting for some evidence of that,
Evidence.
sir.
Ach so, ja, okay. Ja, okay, ist klar. Fein. dann gehen wir halt. Gibt's hier einen Ausgang? Ja. Okay. Wir haben nichts. Ach, wie schade. Ja gut, wir haben ja hier auch noch hier den Jackson Square zu begutachten, weil wir ja in der Zeitung gelesen haben, dass der unheimlich interessant sein soll.
ui,
Und das ist dieser Park.
das ist immer noch der Park.
Jo. Naja, ich meine, Da gibt's Peoples, ne? So. Künstler und so. Gibt's irgendwas Neues vielleicht? Ich meine, es ist schon sehr auffällig, dass wir das heute Morgen in der Zeitung gelesen haben. Huch! Der ist neu. Der steppt.
A small boy is tap dancing enthusiastically for a lucky dog vendor.
Das ist so schön. Ich mag diese Erzählerin.
The lucky dog vendor has his nose buried in a paperback novel. Gabriel knows that it is not.
Kauf dir mal einen Hotdog.
Ja. Kann man machen, ne? Vielleicht hebt das die Stimmung.
Do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
Yep, I mind, all right.
Der steppt und steppt.
'Cause A, I don't know.
Vielleicht ist der einfach nur total gereizt.
I'm busy.
Oh,
Oh,
na dann. Hier. Also.
Interrogating the little boy wouldn't be very useful.
Was ist eigentlich der Unterschied zwischen den...
you dance pretty well
So.
for a kid.
Give me some money, Dan.
Oh, okay.
I don't have any.
Don't block the view, mister.
Und hat ein nettes Kind.
Could I get a lucky dog, please?
Not now, I'm busy.
Will er kein Geld
Also
verdienen
wir haben
hier?
Business.
An unambitious person? In the 90s? Amazing.
Amazing. Ach, ich mag sie. Was gibt's denn hier noch? Ja, die Band, kennen wir die schon?
Sehr
Nee.
stressig, das Kind.
Ja, sehr stressig. Wir gehen mal lieber weiter. Die
Ja,
drei
die
lustigen
gab's schon längst.
4. Ja. Die. Geh weiter, bitte. Bitte. Geh. Gabriel, geh.
Wieso geht ja nicht?
Weiß nicht. Geh. Jetzt. Weiter. Oh, danke. Oh, ein Maler. Den kennen wir auch noch nicht. Hallo?
An artist is taking advantage of the fine weather.
Schön.
Sind alle Leute am Park irgendwie.
Ja.
Could I ask you some questions?
I'd rather not. I really get focused when I'm drawing.
Okay, fine.
Fein.
Was malst du denn?
Nice drawing of the cathedral.
Thanks.
It's really precise.
Well, I'm an architectural student, actually. It's good practice.
Okay.
Der hat seinen Rollstuhl hier
Those
hingebracht.
drawing tools are amazing.
Yeah, they're
stimmt.
great for laying lines, angles, circles, anything geometric. It's pretty meticulous, but I prefer it to freehand.
Naja.
Can you draw anything with those tools?
Wir quatschen den voll.
They're great for ordered, complex forms and patterns, but they won't help me do Monet.
Do you mind if I watch you?
Be my guest.
Do you mind if I watch?
Be my guest.
The artist is an able draftsman, but interrogating him wouldn't lend much to Gabriel's investigation.
Okay. Was mit dem Jongleur hier?
The juggler is busy.
Okay.
The juggler is busy.
Und du?
The drummer is busy.
Sind alle busy.
Alle total busy hier. Na gut. Nur wir nicht. Wir quatschen die Leute.
Geh in den Park jonglieren.
Ah ja, da sind wir wieder. Sind die auch busy?
The band is too into their music to talk to Gabriel.
Okay. Na gut, dann gehen wir halt wieder. Tse. war der Künstler ja, also der Maler ja noch irgendwie, der Architekturstudent, irgendwie noch aufgeschlossen. Wo gehen wir denn hin? Besuchen wir die Oma nochmal? Oder, Aussichtspunkt. Da waren wir zwar auch schon, aber...
Aber da wissen wir gar nicht, was er machen muss.
Ah, stimmt. Hast du recht.
Geh mal zu dem Voodoo-Laden. Da war keiner, der Chef war irgendwie
ist ja ein
gestern
neuer
nicht
Tag
da.
auch. Ja. Voodoo-Museum? Drugstore? War das der?
Ja, ein davon war das.
Ich gehe mal hier hin. Also das Museum...
Der Drugstore sieht so aus wie ein Voodoo-Laden
Ja.
und der Voodoo-Laden sieht aus wie ein Voodoo-Laden.
Stimmt. Mhm.
Das ist doch keine Apotheke.
Ja.
Hello.
Huch. Okay.
Ach so, ein Huhn hatte.
Also.
Bonjour, Monsieur Walker.
Oh, bienvenue, Madame Casino. Comment ça va? How you be feeling today?
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Walker. I'm certain someone's buried a slip-knot bag somewhere in my steps. I haven't slept a wink in weeks.
Das war nicht so nett.
Oh, don't that beat all? Well, you're gonna need some easy night candles then.
Do you think that would help? I do hope you're right. I said 3 rosaries this morning for Our Lady's intervention.
Rosaries are good, sure enough. But you burn those candles too.
Der macht
you
seine
gonna
Geschäfte,
get
ne?
No sleep gree, I tell you for sure.
Very well, Mr. Walker. Put them on my account and send them round to my house. Oh, and there's another thing. I didn't catch her at it, but I know Mrs. Lefebvre put stomachache powder in my tea at the last meeting of the
Natürlich.
Creole Grand Dame. Oh, I've been in misery.
Aha.
You put 9 pinheads up in a little box, add a pinch of graveyard dust, and put it under her front porch step. That'll turn the trick back on Mrs. Lefebvre, and she'll be the one with the bellyache. I have the pins and the dust. Right here if you want them.
Das war böse.
If the Blessed Virgin will grant me her protection, I'll be safe from these practitioners of evil.
Oui, madame. Though it don't hurt to be proactive none neither. Now does it?
Naturellement, monsieur. Merci beaucoup.
Mais non, madame. It is nothing.
Aber der
Au
kann
revoir.
scheinbar
Au revoir,
Französisch.
Monsieur
Da kann er
Walker.
uns bestimmt erklären, was... Ja gut.
Ja, womöglich hat er das selber gesagt.
Ja.
Okay, das ist die Apotheke.
Apotheke.
Can I ask you just a few more questions? Whatever, man.
Whatever.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Are you telling me that you own a voodoo shop? But you know nothing about voodoo?
Nee.
Affaire n'est pas affaire blanche. What does that mean? Means you should mind your own business,
Okay.
monsieur.
Super.
What do you know about the voodoo murders? Monsieur, that has nothing to do with my shop.
Okay.
What can you tell me about New Orleans? I'm a busy man, monsieur. I don't get out of my neighborhood much. Do you know anything about snakes? What kind of snakes? The kind they use in voodoo? Pythons and boas. So I've heard.
Ja,
Really? Do you have
hab
one?
ich mal gehört.
Are you crazy? What would I want with a python?
Do you know anything about snakes?
I've already told you everything I know.
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
I've said all I'm going to say about it.
What did you mean when you said
war das.
Cabri
Ja,
Saint-Corps?
stimmt.
I didn't say that.
You did. I heard you say it.
Jetzt wird's wieder keiner gewesen sein.
wrong, monsieur.
Niemals.
I said no such thing.
Nö.
Niemals.
Ach, komm schon.
What did you mean when you...
I didn't say that.
You did.
You heard wrong, monsieur.
Have you ever
Schattenjäger.
heard of a Schottenjäger?
Man, I don't even know what language that is.
Wow. Okay.
Tell me about yourself. How did you get into this kind of business?
Why should I discuss my business with you? Then?
Mein ja nur.
That customer of yours, the little old lady,
Customer?
the woman I saw in here, Madame Casonu, you called
Hat
her.
er Demenz oder was?
I don't talk about my customers to men who come in off the street.
Ach so. Wirklich nicht?
It's important that I talk to Madame Casonu. You see, I'm doing some research and...
I can't tell you anything about her.
Wirklich nicht?
It's important...
I can't.
Okay. Dann nicht. Der war ja nicht sehr hilfreich. So erst was kaufen, damit er zutraulich wird?
What would Gabriel do with that
Oder
sign?
nicht?
Gabriel cannot see any way to pick that up.
Irgendwas hiervon?
That doesn't seem to be removable.
Okay.
To get what's in the case,
Okay.
Gabriel would need money.
Was ist denn hier an der Wand?
The poster reads, Howard will be yours when you use Papa Legba's power drawing incense and Master Power Oil.
Okay.
The Dixieland drugstore is crammed from top to bottom with strange merchandise, some or all of which seems to be related to the practice of
Ach was,
voodoo.
guck mal den
nee.
Krokodil da, 2 Meter.
It's a mannequin wearing a crocodile mask.
Normale
Ganz
Dinge,
normal.
ne? Ja.
Das ist so.
Standard hier für so eine Drogerie. Finde ich bei dir immer auch mal.
Wahnsinn.
Oder in jeder Apotheke. Okay, dann gehen wir mal zum Voodoo-Museum.
Wieder was ganz anderes.
Ganz anders. Und,
Welcome,
huch,
Ah,
friend.
der ist auch neu.
Hello.
Hallo,
da war
I
vorhin eine
am the
Frau.
proprietor, Dr. John.
Dr. John.
If you have any questions, I will be happy to assist.
Doktor.
Great. My name is Nike, and I'll probably take you up on that.
Und der Trommler.
Immer noch, seit gestern. Das ist eine Schlange.
Could I ask you some questions?
That is why I am here.
Ja, super. Dann mal los. Voodoo.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Wo fange ich an?
Historical voodoo? Or the voodoo currently practiced in the city?
Hehe.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Historical
Ja, alles.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
The killings in the newspaper? I know that they have nothing to do with true voodoo in New Orleans.
Also. Noch was?
What makes you think the voodoo murders aren't being done by local practitioners?
Voodoo is a popular boogeyman, Mr. Knight, especially in New Orleans. Anyone can pretend to use it, just as anyone can pretend to be a black belt in karate, and for the same reason, to intimidate. I know voodoo in this city, Mr. Knight, and believe me, it is not about killing. Even the police have stated that the killings have nothing to do with local voodoo.
Tja. Noch was?
So you know nothing about the voodoo murders case?
I neither know nor care to know, Mr. Knight. My only possible interest is in how it might
Na gut.
affect the public's attitude towards the museum.
Ja.
So far, it has not been an issue. No one has even had the bad taste to bring it up. Until you, that is.
Na dann.
Jetzt, wo er blinzelt, merke ich, wir machen das gar nicht.
Nein, wir blinzeln nicht.
Okay.
Wir haben einen festen Blick.
Sehr intens.
What do you think of New Orleans?
New Orleans.
It is the only city in the United States as far as I am concerned.
Also. Dann.
What is it about New Orleans that you so admire?
It has a real culture of its own, Mr. Knight, amid the horrid blandness that is Americana. New Orleans alone has a voice.
Spoken like a true New Orleanian.
Noch was?
Do you have anything else to say about New Orleans?
I have already given you my opinion, Mr. Knight.
Na dann.
Ach nee, wir
Schlangen.
blinzeln doch.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Nur wenn wir reden.
Ja.
You have perhaps noticed the museum's name,
Ah,
Mr. Knight.
ganz
Ja.
kurz.
They are beautiful creatures, do you not agree? And the tourists seem to associate them with voodoo.
Is the snake yours? Do you use it in your practice of voodoo?
I admire the spirit of the snake, Mr. Knight. But snakes like the museums can be quite dangerous to handle.
You didn't really answer my question.
I think I did, Mr. Knight.
Da ist ihre Schlange da.
I'd really like to know more
Sie
about
kann
den
gefährlich sein.
Den schwarzen Mann seiner Schlange in Ruhe.
To say,
Sie ist gefährlich. Okay.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
Nun.
it is one of the important ceremonial nights in Voodoo.
Und was noch?
What else can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I am afraid I do not know the origins of St. John's Eve. I only know that it was a night of ritual long before Voodoo came to New Orleans.
What else can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
St. John's
I
Eve.
am afraid I have little
Okay.
else to say about that subject.
Dann.
Do you have any idea what Cabri Saint-Gar means?
I fear my
Kein Mensch kann
French
Französisch,
is
das
not
kann ich mir
all.
kaum vorstellen hier. Die wollen ja nur nicht.
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
Deutsch können die ja
I
nicht.
have not.
Nix. Gar nix.
Tell me about yourself.
Me?
Yes, if you don't mind.
What is it you wish to learn?
Huha.
Why did you open a voodoo museum?
The subject has fascinated me all my life, and I wanted to help preserve the cultural heritage it represents.
What kind of background in voodoo do you have?
Let us say that I cut my teeth on it, Mr. Knight. It is in my blood.
Ei.
Do you do anything besides run the museum?
No. The museum does not make me a rich man, but my material needs are simple. I prefer to focus on my one true interest in life.
What are your own religious beliefs?
My beliefs are too personal and too complex
Ah,
to
ja.
discuss with a layman, Mr. Knight.
So, auch eine Umschreibung für, das geht dich überhaupt nichts an.
Just tell me anything.
Anything.
I am originally from the West Indies myself, you know.
Really? What brought you to New Orleans?
I was drawn here for personal reasons.
Just tell me anything.
I am a vegetarian.
Oh,
Ah,
Really? I can't imagine living without meat.
oh, Coffee.
That must be the hunter in you, Mr. Knight.
Just tell me anything.
I do not care for small talk, Mr. Knight.
Okay.
Actually, I can't
Hat er
think of
nicht.
a thing.
Then, let us discuss something else.
Tell me about historical voodoo.
So.
Very well. I will start at the beginning, Mr. Knight, and will go on from there at your prompting.
Sounds good.
As you may know, Voodoo is a grassroots religion formed by the mixing together of many different African tribal religions and Anglo religions, such as Catholicism or Protestantism. In other words, it is a religion born of the African slave trade, but African slaves were imported not only by the United States, but also into the West Indies, where the French and Spanish ran plantation islands. Prior to 1803, the New Orleans area was owned by France. The French Creole in those days owned many African slaves. But the Creole did not permit their slaves to gather, giving no chance for Voodoo to breed here natively. The Creole also knew enough about the corrupted pagan practices of the West Indies slaves to ban the importing of slaves from that region.
Was?
So, how did voodoo come to New Orleans?
After the Louisiana Purchase, American legislators relaxed regulations. slaves were permitted to gather. The Americans also removed the ban on West Indies slaves. Around the same time, a slave revolt occurred in Santo Domingo, what is now Haiti. Between the lifting of the ban and the Haitian revolt, West Indies slaves began pouring into New Orleans. Some of them were free people of color, freed or escaped slaves. Some came with their white owners who were fleeing from the revolt.
Okay. Ja, aber wieder ein Bildungsauftrag erfüllt hier.
They brought voodoo with them. The native slaves were more than enthusiastic about embracing it. It gave them power, Mr. Knight, if only in the form of a communal bond. Among the first meeting places were the Bayou St. John and the shore of Lake Pontchartrain. The early voodoos were heavy snake worshippers, worshipping the one they called the Great Zombie.
Tell me more about historical voodoo.
By 1817,
Weiter geht's.
the voodoo activities were beginning to cause fear among the white slave owners. An ordinance was passed to forbid slave gatherings except in designated public areas at designated times. The time was Sunday afternoons and the place, Congo Square. The slaves and free people of color gathered to dance simulations of their voodoo dances right in sight of Creole society. Of course, they also continued to meet in private for the real thing.
Ding, ding, ding.
Tell me more about historical voodoo.
There were a variety of kings and queens at first, voodoo priests and priestesses. But from about 1830, a single power emerged. This was a voodoo queen named Marie Laveau. Marie Laveau ruled voodoo in New Orleans for many years.
Ding, ding, ding.
Tell me more about historical voodoo.
I've given you as much detail as I
Wenn man die ganze
Alle
Story
durch,
erzählt,
ganze
dann
Story.
kriegt man den Punkt.
If you desire more
Muss gleich gucken, wie
information.
viele Punkte wir haben.
Tell me about current voodoo.
Many people think of voodoo in terms of magic spells or gree-gree. That kind of practice is actually called hoodoo and is only a part of true voodoo. Voodoo, the religion, has a strong following in New Orleans. In fact, it is growing quite rapidly. There are several voodoo churches or temples in the city, and others all across the United States. African Americans see it as a tradition all their own. Whites, and there are many in their religion, are attracted to it because they think it is exotic. I, personally, am more interested in the history of voodoo. Some of the new movements are copying Haitian or even African voodoo. But it is the voodoo of New Orleans that I find so intriguing.
Tell me more about current voodoo.
There are many voodooians in New Orleans. They often do business selling gree-gree, telling fortunes, providing luck, and occasionally misfortune. Perhaps you would like to meet a voodooian. We refer those who seek a deeper experience with voodoo to a local practitioner, Magentia Moonbeam.
Sure, I'd love to meet her.
Ja.
On the corner of Orleans and Dauphine. I will call her and tell her you might stop by.
Yes.
Great, thanks.
Ding, 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 ding. Noch was?
Tell me more about current voodoo.
You have tapped my resources. My expertise is really historical. Perhaps Ms. Moonbeam can be of further
Moonbeam,
help.
so.
What exactly is hoodoo?
Hoodoo refers to magic folk traditions of the South. Hoodoo is a bastard of voodoo. Many of the gree-gree are similar, but hoodoo does not have the religious aspects of voodoo.
Is there anything else I should know about hoodoo?
Not if your interest is primarily in voodoo. Hoodoo is of interest to those who study rural folk traditions, but it will not aid you in understanding true voodoo.
Okay. Dann.
Is there anything else I should know about voodoo?
Not if your interest is primarily in voodoo. Voodoo.
Ja. Gut.
Dann frage ich mich aber, wie viele Punkte haben wir bisher gegeben?
58 von 342.
Wo sind diese anderen Punkte und wie bekommen wir die?
Und wer ist diese Miss Moonbeam?
Das und vieles mehr.
Erfahren wir in der nächsten Folge.